everyone, in my HogvilleNET YouTube Live in-game and post-game. We were coming down the stretch here. We're at the under 8-minute timeout. Arkansas Razorbacks on the NCAA tournament bubble. Vandy was a bubble team, no longer on the bubble. The Commodores with recent wins, impressive wins at home against Ole Miss and Missouri, wrapped around a big road win at Texas A&M. So Vandy's no longer on the bubble, but this is a huge quad one-win opportunity for the Razorback. Would be their 5th of the season, which would make it one of its top 5 most important wins of the season. And right now, Arkansas is up 13. I'm not sure why Vanderbilt has a player at the foul line with nobody else at the foul line unless there was a flagrant foul or a technical, but Arkansas is up 72-59. 7.5 minutes, a long time, 7 minutes, 35 seconds. So first free throw, good. Arkansas is led by as many as 17 points, a big 13-2 run. Arkansas was down by 5 points late in the first half. A 13-2 run. Arkansas went up 6 at the break. 43-37, and they've led by as many as 17 points, 66-49, with 12:04 to play. Vanderbilt is apparently, I don't know what happened here, but Vanderbilt's shooting 4 free throws. So somebody got a technical foul. Something happened that I guess I missed. I didn't see what happened here. We've been at a commercial break, and I've had the volume off, so I haven't heard any commentary here. But Vanderbilt just made 4 free throws on one possession. Self-inflicted wounds, Razorbacks. All right. So I mentioned the 17-point lead. It's down to 9 on the road at Vanderbilt. That's about as awful of a situation as you can have. A turnover. Billy Richmond's had at least 5 turnovers tonight. He's done some good stuff, been awful with the basketball. Nellie Davis was poor with it early. Arkansas's done a better job with turnovers in the second half, but right now, this will be a situation probably where it's going to go to the wire because Arkansas is going to hurt itself as much as the other team will. We've seen it so many times. Maybe not, but, into the first half, Arkansas, it was a 13-0 run, and Arkansas was up 8, and you foul on a missed free throw on your end. Brett Brazil missed the free throw with 0.5 seconds left to give your opponent free points for no reason. 94 feet away from the basket, you give them 2 points. They get on the board after being shut out 13-0 in that run and go from an 8-point deficit to 6. It's more free throws again, 4 on one possession, and now Arkansas gives up an open 3-point shot to Edwards, the leading scorer for Vanderbilt, had struggled all night. I don't know that he's made a field goal in this game. Came in averaging 17 points, 6'1" guard, and he's not the point guard. The bigger guard, Hogard, is their point guard. We talked earlier today when I did the Native Mint recruiting update, talked about Arkansas's bubble. I gave a brief preview, and I said this Vanderbilt team reminds me a lot of Kentucky, how they like to spread you out. Multiple guys, it's more of a finesse team, and this is a good matchup for Arkansas. These are the guys. Okay, maybe it's Arkansas's night. We'll see a lot of time to go. DJ Wagner just hit a 28-footer. Arkansas gets a turnover in the backcourt. Billy Richmond with a steal. He totally redeems himself if that turns into Arkansas points because now Arkansas's back up by double digits, 12 after that deep 3 by Wagner. Turnover, Arkansas's back on the ball, 5:40 to go. If they can just not have bad turnovers, not have stupid fouls, and just don't give up open threes, contest those, force Vanderbilt to drive. Arkansas has done a good job tonight with rim protection. It's some kind of a weird, not sure what the call is here. Arkansas, some kind of a turnover, I guess, either an offensive foul turnover or they're calling a turnover on Wagner. Splash, the 27-footer from Wagner. That's wild. Arkansas Razorbacks got a chance tonight. I'm not going to, because other bubble teams are doing well. Arkansas really needed Texas to lose at Mississippi State, 25th ranked. That's a quad one win, road win for Texas, who's on the bad part of the bubble right now. That's going to be a good bounce for Texas off of that. So it shrinks Arkansas's margin for error with other bubble teams. Several bubble teams won tonight. Georgia's won on the road at South Carolina. Arkansas desperately needs this win to keep pace with the other bubble teams and stay ahead of some. Got a big stop there. Trevor Brazil has been a monster tonight, a double-double. And I tweeted this out earlier. Shows flashes of NBA draft lottery potential Trevor Brazil. That version of him, the one that shows flashes of that, showed up tonight in Nashville. Nellie Davis showed up tonight in Nashville. 20-plus points. He's going to shoot free throws here with Arkansas up 12, 4:57. Arkansas got a big stop. Brazil with a tough defensive rebound. He's got at least 12 boards. He's also had a couple assists, a couple of steals, and a block shot the last time I checked. Trevor Brazil with a big night, and they got McLaughlin fouled out. He hurt Arkansas with his first half scoring. He hit a three early in the second half after Brazil hit a three, but he's out of there with 12 points. He had 9 points in that first half when Vanderbilt again was kind of at least with a small margin lead. Again, it was a 5-point deficit for the Hogs when they closed it first half on a 13-2 run, and it's been all gas since then. Again, just like Kentucky, this is a soft team. Arkansas is getting downhill. When I checked the stats before coming on, right at the 10-minute mark, so about 5 minutes ago, Arkansas was dominating points in the paint, 42-16, plus 26 there, 17-3 in fast break scoring. But where Arkansas was not doing well in the first half, -9 in second chance points, 12-3, -4 on the offensive glass in the second half. The last time I checked, again with 10 minutes ago, Arkansas had evened up the offensive rebounds to 8 all and evened up those second chance points to 12 all. So a 9-0 run in terms of second chance points in the second half to that point. I don't know where it is now, but Arkansas's just got to make free throws. DJ Wagner's got a bloody nose. They're doctoring him up. The last thing Arkansas needs is a player that can't finish the game because of an injury or blood that they can't stop. He'll have to come out if they can't get that stop. Nelly Davis he's already missed a free throw tonight. He's at the free throw line, high 80s in percentage, and he's already 1 for 2 at the line. So you need him to knock down both of these. Everything matters now coming down the stretch. Nelly, again with 2 free throws here. Thank you for joining me on HogvilleNET YouTube Live in-game and post-game. I'm Kevin McPherson. This is a huge day for Arkansas Razorbacks men's basketball. The announced visit upcoming this weekend when Arkansas hosts Mississippi State on Saturday of top 3 rated 5-star class of 2025, Nate Ament. If Arkansas wins on the road tonight, this will have Arkansas, in my opinion, win or lose. If it loses against Mississippi State at home on Saturday, Arkansas will still be projected in going into the SEC tournament with maybe, depending upon what other bubble teams are doing now and around that time, needing another win, but maybe not. Win 2 more, whether it's tonight plus Mississippi State or tonight in your first game of the SEC tournament, Arkansas is a lock. But with other bubble teams doing well tonight, you had a bubble matchup with Ohio State and Nebraska that went to double overtime. I don't know who won that, but one of the bubble teams will lose there. Brazil missed a 3 and saves an offensive rebound back into DJ to reset the clock. Arkansas all over the offensive glass in this half. Big Z got a putback and one, and part of that was because Trevor Brazil kept a missed shot alive for him to get that offensive rebound putback and one. And it looks like Jonas Adu just got fouled as well on an offensive rebound attempt after a missed 3-pointer. We're going to a timeout at 3:53. Adu will be shooting free throws. I mean, he made one earlier in the game, then he missed 2. This is going to be an exploration. So Arkansas trying to get to that finish line. We saw Texas earlier tonight do something similar. They were trailing late in the first half, had an 11-0 run, went up by 5 at halftime. Arkansas 13-2 run, went up by 6. Texas had a double-digit lead down the stretch on the road against Mississippi State and then just collapsed in the last few minutes. We've seen Texas do that. And that game went to overtime. Texas ended up prevailing anyway. You do not want to see Arkansas let go of the rope here and be in a situation where you're on the road and facing overtime. You got to figure out a way to string together solid defensive possession, make your free throws. We'll see what Jonas Adu does coming out of the timeout at the line. And you hope you're getting to a point where you'll be in the double bonus shooting free throws here soon, if you're not already, if you're Arkansas. But again, when I came in here, Brazil had 11 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He's got at least 13 rebounds right now, maybe 14. Again, Nelly was at 20 points when we came in. He just made 2 free throws, so he's at least up to 22. Big Z had 14 points, 5 rebounds when I came on. Carter Knox, 10 points, 5 rebounds. Everybody's getting on the glass here. Billy Richmond, 8 points, 5 turnovers, way too much. A lot of those were just sloppy, careless. We've seen him having those issues. We've seen that with DJ Wagner as well. He had a poor first half, didn't score, had a couple of fouls, had to sit out. doing better in the second half. You know, he's given Arkansas some offense, at least 9 points after that deep three. I know he had at least 3 assists. Maybe he has more now in this second half. And we know in Arkansas's best wins, he's been a second half guy. I go back to Michigan on the road. I go back in a neutral site. I go back to Kentucky on the road. And he made some plays down the stretch on a poor shooting night for him against Texas in a road win. But I think he had a strong second half in Arkansas's home win over Missouri. So all the top quad one wins Arkansas has so far. Now look, here's the other thing with this. Arkansas's got 4 quad one wins. If they hang on tonight and find a way to win this game, if Arkansas finds a way to hang on and win this game, this will be the 5th quad one win. Will actually be Arkansas's 4th best, because it'll be a little bit better than the Texas road win just based on where these teams are in net. Now, Texas was right behind Arkansas, was 47, Texas 46. If Vandy loses at home, 37 in net. Let's see if they fall out of the top 40. Let's see how much Texas moves up. But this is a team with already 20 wins, 8-8 in league play coming in tonight in Vanderbilt, and is not a bubble team. So it's got a better resume than Texas. So this would actually be a better quad one win for Arkansas on the road than the road quad one win at Texas. All right. Jonas Adu hits the first shot. Arkansas's in the double bonus anyway, but you need to make them regardless. So Arkansas, we'll see what he does with the second free throw. 3:53 to go. It's a lot of time. You just got to get stops. You definitely don't want to give up threes. Huge trip to the free throw line. Vanderbilt's on offense now. Makes both. 79-65. The lead is 14 for the Razorbacks. This has been a collective night with Trevor in Brazil and Nelly Davis, I guess, being the stars. But Jonas Adu's had a nice game off the bench. Up to 5 points now, I believe. Or maybe he's actually got more than that, because I think when I checked stats with 10 minutes ago, he had 3 points and 6 rebounds. He may be a little bit better than that right now. Arkansas just fouled and stopped the clock. Vanderbilt will be shooting free throws with 3:37. It's the kind of stuff you can't do. You can't be your own worst enemy, which Arkansas tends to be. It doesn't mean they're not going to finish this game off. You know, just contest threes, force drives to the basket, and contest at the basket. And make sure you don't foul. Missed free throw by Vanderbilt. It was great strategy to foul there, because you just hit 2 free throws. You might only give up 1 point or none now. I'll change my tune based on the results here. But Jonas Adu may have better stats scoring-wise than what I had written down, because he certainly hit 2 free throws, so that helps there. But this is kind of all hands on deck. 2 missed free throws here. Arkansas gets the defensive rebound. Jonas Adu tracks that down. So was brilliant strategy to foul with 3:37 left. Arkansas back on offense, still up 14, 79-65. This is getting to a point now where Arkansas's just got to continue to get to the rim. DJ Wagner drives, little crossover, gets all the way for a layup. He's got at least 11 points after going scoreless in the first half. Another huge second half. The lead's back up to 16, 81-65 with 3 minutes to go. Vanderbilt's looking 3-point shot for Nickel goes in. That guy hits a 3 every time Arkansas builds a little cushion. That Nickel guy gets a 3 off and gets it to splash. That's at least 4 threes for him tonight made. DJ had a couple of crossovers before he did a little finish, nice little strong finish there going to the basket. So Nickel hits a 3, timeout Vanderbilt's down to 13 again, 2:57 to go. So Arkansas is just trying to hang on. A double-digit win on the road would also be nice. You'd like for this to figure out a way to get this between 15 to 20-point advantage. That'll give you a little extra boost in net in a game like this, and probably make your case stronger. So this is, again, the scenario. You're only guaranteed 2 more games after this one, your regular season finale and the first round of the SEC tournament. That's it. And so win 2 of the 3, including tonight, and you're a lock. Doesn't matter what order, you're a lock. Win only 1 of the 3, and this is the game you want to win. This is it, Vanderbilt, because it's the best quad value. Mississippi State now is guaranteed to drop from 30th a little bit in net, so that's going to be a quad 2 result at Bud Walton. You still want to win that. It still would help you, but this one helps you more, even if that would be a quad 1 result, which it won't be against Mississippi State. This one's the better win. All right, So you, out of the 3 remaining games, this, if you're only going to win one, this was the preference. The other preference was some of these other bubble teams lose. Well, Texas didn't do that. So it shrinks the margin for Arkansas's error a little bit. Georgia didn't do that. That's not so bad. Georgia likely was going to get in by winning only one of its last 3 and would be a lock. Arkansas needed 2 out of 3 to be a lock. So Georgia winning at South Carolina. Now you just want Georgia to win out. You want Georgia to beat this Vanderbilt team at home on Saturday, and you would like to see Georgia at least pick up a first-round win in the SEC tournament. Unless it's Arkansas that's playing Georgia in that first round, then not. Because Georgia's 33rd in net coming into today. I don't know how much bounce they'll get winning on the road at South Carolina, but beat Vandy at home and maybe win an SEC tournament first round game. And if they can get to finish top 30 in net, no worse than 30th, and that's another quad 1 win on Arkansas's resume. So that's really the only bubble team right now that probably is no longer on the bubble, actually. But coming into today where you thought, well, they either need to lose out or win out. You don't want them splitting games. And because they got a better resume right now than Arkansas anyway, so you don't want to be in that kind of competition. All right, so Nelly Davis got fouled immediately on Arkansas's attempt to inbound after the timeout. He's back at the foul line. He's hit the first one. Arkansas's doing what it's supposed to do on these freebies right now, knocking them down. After going 1 of 2 on free throws in his first 2 attempts, Nelly in this last minute or so. Well, he just missed the second one, so he's 3 of 4 in his last 4 attempts. Arkansas's up 14, 82-68. Vanderbilt's back on possession of the ball. So that's you just can't have it. You got to make free throws this juncture of the game. This team's too good, especially with the 3-point shot. This is a team that shot well from 3 tonight. Arkansas's defense has been suffocating at near the basket. Another block. I don't know who got that. Jonas Adu. I was just talking about it. Jonas Adu and Trevor Brazile block a shot. Nelly going the other way, not working clock, forcing a bad shot. The little things, playing yourself and the opponent. You're up 14. You don't rush any shot at this point. You milk clock. The clock is your opponent right now. Vandy hits a 3 on the other end. It's down 11 with 2:12. If I'm Arkansas and I'm John Calipari, I'm taking a timeout and I'm going back over what they have to. Billy Richmond with a 6 turnover tonight. Layup for Vanderbilt. It's down to a 9-point lead. And it's 2 minutes left. Arkansas is falling apart. Decision-making is awful by this Arkansas team when it matters. They're going to forget the 15 to 20-point win right now. Arkansas's got to find a way to survive, not rush shots. Take good shots, not rush shots. DJ Wagner just airballed a floater, but Arkansas is going to get a dead ball offensive foul. Arkansas has been all over the offensive glass in this half. Just went from a 14-point lead down to 9 just because of, again, self-inflicted wounds. That is the identity of this team. Trevor Brazile with his 3rd 3-pointer tonight. That is a huge response. Nelly Davis drives in the paint, kicks out to the right corner. Trevor Brazile having an all-SEC kind of a game. Hogard gets all the way to the basket for a layup. At least Arkansas didn't foul and give him an and one. It's back down to 10. But that 3 put Arkansas back to a double-digit margin at 12 by Brazile. 1:10 left. Arkansas is on offense. Now it's just take care of the ball. No bonehead plays here. Nelly probing a little bit, throwing it into Adu, a mid-post. He's going to back his man down. Got a smaller guy on him. Mid-range turnaround shot from 12 feet by Jonas Adu in the paint. 87-75. Arkansas is going to win this game. Arkansas is going to win this game. The Razorbacks are going to move to 18-12. They're going to be 7-10 in SEC play. And this might just be enough. Vanderbilt with an uncontested layup. It's a 10-point deficit. 87-77. Arkansas is trying to get it up past midcourt here. Arkansas really, if they can, get a double-digit win on the road. They won by 10 at Kentucky. Should have won by 15 at Texas. The refs weren't going to have any part of that. This would be a huge win. Still being careless with the ball. DJ, I mean, this is the finish this game right. You know, that's what you want if you're an Arkansas fan watching this. Trevor Brazile just got tackled, no call. DJ Wagner with a step-back 3. It goes in. Arkansas's at 90 points, 90-77. DJ Wagner with a monster second half. Trevor Brazile with a monster game. Nelly Davis with a monster game. Carter Knox with a solid game. Jonas Adu with a monster game relative to what he's been given Arkansas. Missed three-pointer by Vandy. That's going to do it. Arkansas is going to dribble this out. Still got to cross midcourt here just to avoid a turnover and another possession for Vanderbilt. This is how you close out after that stinker of a performance. Just a horrible performance at South Carolina where everybody laid an egg. You had Trevor Brazile with a vintage Trevor Brazile double-double. Again, Nellie Davis. I know I was kind of barking here with about 2 minutes to go because Arkansas was starting to do self-inflicted wound things to maybe let Vanderbilt have a shot here. So there is a potential that this is all Arkansas will need. I think it's dicey. If you don't win one of these next two games, Mississippi State at home on Saturday when Nate meant the Five Stars visiting, if you don't win that game, you need to win the first round SEC tournament game. Right now, according to the seeding, we'll have to see if the season ended today. If it finishes like this, Arkansas would play Texas a third time. And Texas just picked up a big win. Arkansas is still going to be on the bubble. This might be enough initially to move Arkansas to the last four byes. But losing home to Mississippi State and in the first round of the SEC tournament, now you're either in the last four in, potentially the first or second team on the first four out if other teams on the bubble are performing well. However, again, Arkansas now 18-12, 7-10 in the SEC. They're going to finish the regular season being projected in, win or lose against Mississippi State. They'll finish the regular season projected in, even if they lose to Mississippi State. Then it just becomes dicey and what happens in the first round of the tournament and some other things. But the Arkansas is now 5-9 in quad one games. The Razorbacks are 2-3 in quad two, 4-0 in quad three, 7-0 in quad four. This is a huge win for Arkansas. 90-77. You get a double-digit margin. And Arkansas, let's look at it this way. How as badly as that game at South Carolina stunk to high heaven, and it sure did, Arkansas's won three of its last four. That streak started with a home win over top 15 rank, not only in the polls, but in net, Missouri. In that bubble matchup against Texas. And now this game, I mean, again, Arkansas, the South Carolina game was a microcosm for everything that's been wrong about this team all year. But it was one game. And it hurt. It hurt. It knocked Arkansas off that last four byes down to the second spot in the last four in. And now they've got Trevor Brazile. I don't have the volume down. Trevor Brazile should be the player of the game. Nellie Davis, probably a close second. Big Z again, Knox. Maybe not as big down the stretch in this game, those two. But everybody, Billy Richmond, Jonas Adu, everybody, you're down to seven players, and all seven pitched in with big performances. Arkansas had a chance to get all seven into double-digit scoring tonight. I don't know if that happened. Great game. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, I mean, again, 18-12 overall, 7-10 in the SEC. And again, you lose to Mississippi State. If that happens, you're still on the bubble projected in, I think, going into the NCAA tournament. I don't have any doubt about that. But again, that leaves things dicey. Win one more of these two, either against Mississippi State on Saturday, that locks you in. Doesn't matter what happens in the SEC tournament. Now you're just playing for seeding at that point. Lose to Mississippi State, you might still be okay with a first round SEC tournament loss. It's going to, again, depend on what other bubble teams are doing. You might still get in, probably as a play-in, though. You don't want that. So there's a difference between being locked in and being dicey, and you might survive the dicey, but it not being even what you'd like to see happen, especially for a team down to seven players, because you'd have potentially three games in a matter of span of days. You have a Tuesday game in the play-in, then a Thursday or Friday game in the regular bracket. And if you were to win that, you turn around in 48 hours or so, and you've got another game. Trevor Brazile did it everywhere. He had a windmill dunk after still in transition. He had a putback dunk. He was all over the place. I mean, if you look at his performances against Texas and now Vanderbilt, you're asking yourself, why? Oh, why? Do we not see more of this? What does it take to conjure this up consistently? I mean, it's on him, man. This guy looks like tonight, he looks like an NBA draft lottery type of guy. He's 6'10". He's got crazy hops. He's got crazy length at 7'4". He can knock down threes and space the floor. He knocked three down tonight. And you saw all the kooky stuff he does that can't hardly be replicated by many people in college basketball. Dare I say that he's the bulbs come on. I mean, To throw him under the bus against South Carolina wouldn't be exactly fair because nobody showed up to play that day. I guess Jonas Adu technically had a double-double, but this is back-to-back games now where Adu and now Brazil have posted double-doubles. And Adu might have been close to one tonight. I don't have final stats in front of me. My last look was at the 10-minute mark, and Adu still had 6 rebounds. But Arkansas, that was the bugaboo in the first half, was the glass. Arkansas was dominating points in the paint. The Razorbacks were dominating transition, even though they weren't dominating the turnover game because they were actually way behind early on turnovers. But Arkansas was getting clobbered on the offensive glass and second chance points. They continued to be the better team in the paint in transition. They turned around. They got the turnover battle even more in their favor in the second half. But the offensive glass, they completely flipped that script. So Arkansas actually in that second half, despite some spot areas where they're giving up 4 free throws on one possession here late, and then, a goofy decision on offense to rush a shot that wasn't there, and then you give up a shot, and then turn over in the backcourt, and they score again, and they just chop your lead. I mean, aside from a few things here and there down the stretch, Arkansas was just better than Vanderbilt. Dominated this game. I mentioned again earlier today when I came on to talk Nate Ament, the visit this afternoon, I did a brief preview of this game, and I did say that this team and the way they play remind me of Kentucky, and maybe there's something there for Arkansas. I did say if it was close coming down the stretch, Arkansas just needed to make better decisions, execute, and they could find a way to win. It wasn't quite that tight. Arkansas had a double-digit lead for much of this second half, and even though Vanderbilt got within 9 with about 2 minutes or so left, Arkansas made some big plays to close it out. What a fantastic win for John Calipari and his program. You go into a high on Saturday. That's an early start. And there's no telling which Arkansas team shows up. But this Arkansas team now, I mentioned it. I mentioned the overall record. I mentioned the league record. Let's say this. Arkansas now is 5-8 away from home. That is respectable. That is a good away from home mark. That includes a 4-6 mark in true road games. 4-6 in true road games, and they finished 3-6 in SEC road games. But all 3 of those were quad 1 wins. They weren't soft liver, and 2 of those, I mean, we'll see where Vanderbilt ends up in the net. They might fall outside the top 40. They came in at 37 today. But this is a team that already locked up its bid. This is a 20-win team. This was a team that came in 500 in league play. And guess what? This is a weird scenario. If Arkansas defeats Mississippi State at home on Saturday, Arkansas will finish not only 19-12 overall, and they'll be a lock to get in. They'll be 8-10 in SEC play. If Georgia, we said it helps Arkansas a little bit if Georgia just wins out now. It won't matter if Arkansas just wins one more game, what any bubble team does. Arkansas will be a lock. But let's throw this in here. If Georgia can somehow finish in the top 30 in net, the Bulldogs would also add another quad 1 win. That'd be 6 for Arkansas in the quad 1 win department, and it would knock Vanderbilt into an 8-10 finish in SEC play, tied with Arkansas if Arkansas beats Mississippi State. That would give Arkansas the nod in the seeding. It would put Arkansas in a better finish, technically, even though they would tie in standings for the head-to-head. Guess what? If Arkansas beats Mississippi State to do that, that'll drop Mississippi State down to 8-10 in the league. And Arkansas would have that tiebreaker as well. So Arkansas came in today 12th, I believe, in the standings. And by virtue of Mississippi State and Vanderbilt both losing today, Arkansas is now only 1 game behind both of those teams. Georgia and Arkansas, I think, were tied in the league standings, so they remain tied by virtue of Georgia's win over South Carolina on the road. So even if Georgia beats Vanderbilt to also finish 8-10, you're going to have 4 teams at that point, should Arkansas beat Mississippi State, tied at 8-10. But Arkansas also holds the head-to-head over Georgia because in the only time those teams played this year in Fayetteville, Arkansas came back from 15 down in the second half to win that game by 3 points, 65-62. So there's a chance by Arkansas winning Saturday, Georgia beating Vandy on Georgia's home court on Saturday, that Arkansas actually moves up from, I guess right now, tied for 12th. The only teams that are worse are Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, and South Carolina. 16, 15, 14, 13. So Arkansas is tied with 12th for Georgia. Arkansas would actually move up then to, I believe, that would put them in 10th place because they'd be in a four-way tie, but they would have the head-to-head nod over everybody they're tied with. So Arkansas would be the 10 seed at that point. I believe that's right. I'm just playing all this out in my head. I didn't actually research the what ifs on that. I should have before I came on here, but I'm just going off what I memorized on where they stood in the standings and what the results were tonight. But the Razorbacks, I wish I had all the final stats, but the Hogs just dominated the paint, dominated the transition game, turned the turnover battle around, turned the offensive second chance points battle around. And though Vandy shot a really good percentage up from three overall because of how Arkansas dominated defensively around the rim and just shut guys out from scoring around the basket, Arkansas held the overall field goal shooting. I'm sure for Vanderbilt, it was in the high 20s at best. That was at halftime at best. They're somewhere in the 30s. They didn't get to 40% overall shooting in this game. No way. And Vanderbilt did a good job at the free throw line. That last I checked, they were 16 of 20, 80%. Arkansas was 11 of 16, under 70%. But Arkansas hit some down the stretch. This game, again, goes back to those other parts, points in the paint, points in transition. Some of that goes together. And Arkansas hit enough threes. I mean, Arkansas hit some late. They were 5 of 18 when I came on, 27.8%. I know for a fact Brazil got at least one more. DJ Wagner hit a 27, 28-footer. You know your night's going well when he does that. And Wagner scored all his points in the second half. And what did he end up with? I don't know. 14, 16, something like that. I mean, he had a big second half. And we've seen that before. Again, Arkansas's biggest wins, Michigan neutral site in the Big Apple, Madison Square Garden, in that win over 14th ranked Michigan. And he did it on the road against Kentucky, big second half. He did it again at home against Missouri, big second half. He did it tonight, big second half. Arkansas had to have everybody. That was one of the things I said earlier today when I did the preview show, part of the earlier HogvilleNET YouTube Live, when I did the preview part. I said Arkansas doesn't have enough bodies left for anybody to really have a bad game, and you expect to win games like this. Everybody's going to have to pitch in and give them more than a little, is what I said. Everybody's got to give more than just a little. And that's exactly what happened. Again, Arkansas was knocking on the door of having 7 guys in double figures, all 7, and maybe a couple of guys with double doubles. That's how good this performance was when you look at it from that standpoint. And again, Arkansas have reported this. I think Adu Thero, based on one source that I haven't confirmed with a second, have not, but torn meniscus and out for the year, which means for the rest of the season, not just the regular season, not just the SEC tournament, but all of it. If Arkansas even gets beyond the SEC tournament, which it's looking more and more like the Razorbacks will. Again, tonight, I don't think locks it up. I just don't. Had Texas lost tonight, had some more of the bubble teams lost, maybe I would be getting closer to saying, you know what, even if they lose their next 2, it's probably going to work out. And it might work out if that happens. It still might. It might just work out. But right now, I don't think it's a lock. I think they need one more to lock it. And if they don't win another one, this was the one out of the last 3, if you're going to win one, that you wanted. You're getting more value out of this than a home win over Mississippi State would have provided. And Mississippi State now will fall from 30th and net. It's going to drop. So that'll be a quad 2 now at home anyway. You want to win it. Arkansas's 2-3 in quad 2 games. That would help bolster your resume even more there. And that's a quality win over a team ranked, top 40 in net. So that would be a big one. And why not? I mean, Arkansas just needs to string together another performance. I think the difference is styles make matchups and styles make games. Mississippi State they're not as good defensively as they've been in the past, but they're tough. They play a lot more physical brand than this team did tonight that Arkansas faced, and that gives Arkansas trouble. Home hasn't necessarily been a haven. Again, Arkansas finished 3-6 in road games in the league. They're 4-4 at home now after starting 2-4. So they're on a bit of a roll at home. Back-to-back wins over Missouri when they had Adu Thero for most of that. So that's a caveat there. He was a box score plus 19 in that 7-point win in 26 minutes. But they won without him in overtime against Texas. And so back-to-back home wins, and you go back home now after this big road win. And Arkansas is finishing the season the right way. That's the other thing. When the committee looks at Arkansas, they say they look at the whole body of work, which they do, but they also want to see teams. The biggest thing, and I've said it forever, and I'm going to repeat it, is how do you do away from home? And Arkansas has been strong there. I mentioned it. Now 5-8, 4-8 in true road games, or excuse me, 4-6 in true road games, 3-6 in SEC road games. That's how it finishes in the league. And 1-2 in neutral site, but that one was a big one again over Michigan, a quad oneer. And so now you've got that going for you. You have no bad losses. Again, 11-0 combined, 4-0 against quad 3, 7-0 against quad 4. So no bad losses. Even the South Carolina loss, it was a quad 2. So it's ugly. It's a bad loss in some regards, but in the quad realm, it is not. So that's not going to impact you in terms of being viewed as a bad quad loss. Oklahoma, one of the strangest things is as we look at these results tonight, Oklahoma has a home game against Missouri tomorrow night. OU right now is the first team coming into today, or even during the day today, when Lenardi updated, the first team on the first 4 out list. So one spot away from being a play-in and being the last 4 in. Oklahoma is 4-12 in the SEC. And one of the things I said way back before the league play started, after the league had dominated all the other major conferences, I said, I envision there's maybe 1 or 2 or a few teams that could finish 6-12, win only 1 out of every 3 games in this conference, and still make it to the NCAA tournament. Well, Oklahoma's one of those. Oklahoma's one spot away from being projected in right now at 4-12 in the league. If Oklahoma beats Missouri tomorrow night at home, and then Oklahoma turns around on Saturday and beats Texas on the road, Oklahoma's going to get in. At 6-12, that team will have done enough to get in. I don't think the SEC tournament, if it loses first round, will be enough to knock it out at that point. It's possible, but you win, that'll be a quad 1 win at home if they beat Missouri tomorrow. I'm not rooting for OU, but it backs up the point I was making. Remember, OU went 13-0 in non-conference. OU picked up a neutral site win over the same Michigan team that Arkansas beat on a neutral site. OU also had a neutral site top 10 net win over Arizona. Had a couple more decent wins. So it's not like the resumes for all of these teams, even the bottom dwellers, aren't solid when you look at it as a whole. But I do think, OU's down in net a little bit. OU has a bad loss, a quad 3 loss, because they lost at home to LSU. So there's other blemishes there. Most of these teams we're talking about here on the bubble have similar resumes when you look at how many quad 1 wins they have. Arkansas's quad 2 record's not as good as some of the other ones, but some of the other ones may have 1 or 2 bad losses. And on the quad realm, and Arkansas has 0 in that part. And I mention this all the time, some of Arkansas's quad 1 wins are stronger based on how the net rankings are and that they did it on the road than some of these other teams that have the same amount of quad 1 wins, or maybe 1 more. Arkansas's quad 1 wins are a little better in some regards. So more than one way to look at it. I think Arkansas, again, this is a huge win. This is, again, top 5 win on the season because it's one of your 5 quad 1s. But there's some quality about this run that Arkansas's made as a shorthanded team already without Boogie Flan. And then you lose a Duthero and you're still finding ways against quality to win games. And you scratch your head and say, well, had Arkansas not been dead on arrival at South Carolina on Saturday, we're not talking about anything right now other than they're locked in, they're going, and it's a matter of now how many more games can you win to improve your seeding? Could you win enough to jump up to a 7 seed? We were talking about that. Arkansas's got a chance here if it beats Mississippi State to win 4 of its last 5 games going in the SEC tournament. So they were they really weren't that close to going unbeaten because they were never close against South Carolina. They were down 35 with about a handful of minutes to go. Yeah, so Vanderbilt came in tonight, projected as a 9 seed. Vanderbilt's got no worries. No worries whatsoever. Gosh, that tomahawk dunk early by Brazil in transition is just wild. I mean, I say it again, man. I cannot figure out how this guy is not consistently showing more of this stuff and giving himself a chance to be a first round NBA draft pick. I mean, all the tools are there, and the skills. He's got some skill. He can shoot. He can face up. He's what these. I mean, that the windmill in transition. I mean, Daniel Gafford used to do that, and there was a guy trying to walk him down, trying to walk Brazil down. He didn't care. He just hammered that shit anyway. They're showing highlights here on SEC now, and they're showing Brazil's corner three, one of his corner threes. That's been kind of his sweet spot. When he knocks those down, he's doing it from three, from those corners. Arkansas and transition. I mean, this felt like Arkansas, Kentucky. I had those feels earlier today coming in that it might go that way. But after that performance at South Carolina, you can't even predict exactly that Arkansas is just going to have its night. You just don't know what they're going to do. There goes DJ Wagner with the logo 3. Maybe that was a 30-footer. I said 28, then I shaved it down to 27. Maybe my eyes won't allow me to believe DJ can hit a 30-foot three-pointer, but he did. He swished it as that game drew down. All right. HogvilleNET YouTube Live in-game, and it's turned into post-game. I don't even have final stats. I'm just kind of rattling on about Arkansas right now. But the record, again, 18-12 overall, 7-10 in the SEC. One more against Mississippi State at home, and Arkansas is right back in it in terms of finishing middle of the pack. I mean, basketball standings. So they've got Mississippi State at 9th, Vanderbilt at 10th. I guess Arkansas, I guess I said that wrong earlier, that they'd move up to 10th. Maybe they could be as high as 9th in that pecking order. That's probably right. So you have 4 teams out on the other outside the top 12. You'd have 4 teams, 12, 11, 10, and 9. That's probably right. So instead of, if Arkansas beats Mississippi State, if Georgia beats Vandy at home, Arkansas will then be in a 4-way tie with those teams for 9th place, but Arkansas would get the seeding nod in that scenario for having the tiebreakers for all the head-to-head wins. Arkansas is unbeaten against those teams head-to-head, 1-0 against each of them at that point. If they were to beat Mississippi State Saturday, that's an if because they haven't played it yet. All right, so that's just interesting stuff. I always felt coming into league play, one of the talking points was, and this is before we knew if Boogie was going to be hurt or Adou-Thero, so it's not exactly apples to apples. But I said Arkansas kind of looked like at best a middling team, and maybe they could get a ceiling would be the upper end of middle. But if they were to finish in 9th place in a 4-way tie, again, other things have to happen other than just beat Mississippi State. You need Georgia to beat Vandy at home. But if, again, that's not far-fetched, we're going to find out Saturday, and the middles might be exactly where Arkansas landed this thing at 8-10 and 9th place. So, call it kind of close to the middle there. Not precisely there. But what a win. Again, Texas did what it needed to do to try to stay alive. It tightened Arkansas's margin for error, and then you go and get the best win you could possibly get out of these last 3. And it's the first of the 3, so you get a little momentum going, and you've still got some stuff you can still do. Are you in desperation mode? Of course. And I think you should still approach it like we must win. I think if you're Arkansas, you haven't locked anything in yet. It may work out if you don't win another game in these last 2 that you get in. But you're not, you can't feel like, okay, we've done enough. You need one more, I think. And if other bubble teams on Saturday, let's say Arkansas were to lose Mississippi State, and other bubble teams are losing also, and Arkansas doesn't really lose any ground there, it may be a scenario where we hear Lenardi or someone else say, okay, if asked about Arkansas, okay, now Arkansas, win or lose its first-round game, even if it loses, it's probably going to get in. I mean, like I said, there's a chance. It'll be dicey. There's a chance if things fall the right way with other teams losing, if you lose your last 2, that you're okay. But I think the best way to solve that is just get one more. You're locked in no matter what. It gets a little repetitive. I'm going over the same stuff. I'm just trying to, play it all through my head, because even if Arkansas is without Adou-Thero the rest of the way, we know they're without Boogie Flan. You say, well, I don't like their chances. It might be an early exit from the NCAA tournament. So what? That's what you play for, is to get there. This is John Calipari's first season. You got people out there, especially Big Blue Nation, saying the dude's washed up. You don't want to help. I don't think he cares what they're saying, but as a fan base, you always want to make the NCAA tournament anyway. You want your coach to have success. He's having brilliant success in recruiting right now. We'll see if he can add to that brilliance with Nate Ament. Big weekend visit. If you haven't seen it already, go check out my earlier show today on HogvilleNET YouTube Live, where I went through some of the selling point or making the case for why Calipari and Arkansas maybe have an argument that maybe there's a case that they could be in the lead coming down the stretch here for Nate Ament. I don't know that, but I talk a lot about that, so go check that out if you haven't already. But man, you've started your week off great with this win. You've got an extra day to rest. You're 7 bodies down. You played Tuesday instead of Wednesday. I mean, Arkansas has played most of their midweek games on Wednesdays. So even though this was a quick turnaround relative to Saturday, now you win and you're okay. I get an extra day to, get some rest on these legs. And you, if you're Arkansas, you don't worry about who you have or don't have anymore. You just keep playing. Arkansas somehow, after starting 0-5, you lose Boogie Flan. You've now been without a Adu Thero several games, and you've got really one ugly game in that whole stretch without those guys. And that was Saturday at South Carolina. And maybe that turns now into an outlier at this point, right? So that's what you're hoping for. I'm going to sign off here. It's been a long day, and it's getting close to midnight. But I want to thank you for joining me on HogvilleNET YouTube Live. I'm Kevin McPherson. If you haven't done it already, please go hit subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for joining me as always. I don't know if anything else is going to break prior to Saturday. I'm probably going to do a pregame on Friday since the game starts so early. I'm going to try to cover some high school state tournaments that are now underway. Then I plan to be at Budwalter Arena on Saturday for that game and for coverage against Mississippi State as Arkansas closes the regular season out at home, closes SEC play out at home. Still a lot to play for. Seeding, pecking order in the SEC tournament, how you finish in the league standings. Arkansas can still move up substantially. I just went through all of that. You need one more win to guarantee an NCAA tournament at-large bid. You may have done enough to somehow get in if you don't win another one in these next two, Mississippi State and then first-round SEC tournament, but you don't want to leave it to chance. Until next time, thanks for being here. Glad you were here. Arkansas 90, Vanderbilt 77, 5th quad 1 win, 4th away from home. That's huge. No bad losses. The resume is getting better and better. See you next time.